Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sports Lowdown. Brad Swanson and Lee Knapp here bringing you the Sports Lowdown right here on channel 88.9 FM like we do each and every week, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Lee, football season for the high school kids is winding down. We're at the state championship. New York had their state championships last weekend, Pennsylvania this weekend. And it's a little different. You and I were talking prior to coming on to the show here. Pennsylvania now has 6 classifications, so they do things different than they used to. They used to have 4 classifications. All 4 games were played at Hershey Park Arena on that Saturday. Then they cut it back, and they would have 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. Now, with the 6 classifications, you have 2 games on Thursday, 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. One of the shockers to me was Wilmington getting beat by Avonworth, so they're out. They lost in the state semifinals last Friday night. Farrell, however, won and are looking to repeat as state champions as they'll go in and play the state championship game tomorrow. And Farrell will be playing Bishop Guilfoyle, at 1 p.m. at Hershey Park Arena. That's the Class A championship. Then tomorrow night at 7 p.m., it's Dallas versus Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, of course, the team that knocked off Prep.
Yep.
And they'll be in the state finals. That's a 7 p.m. game. Friday, it'll be the Class 2A, and it'll be Avonworth that knocked off Wilmington. They'll be taking on Southern Columbia. And then the late game, that's a 1 o'clock game. At 7 p.m. Friday, it will be Cheltenham versus Archbishop Wood in the 5A game. Saturday, we'll see the 3A game at noon, Wyoming area versus Central Valley. And then the 6 p.m. finale will be the Class 6A. It'll be Central Dauphin against St. Joseph's Prep. Now, last Saturday, St. Joseph Prep beat Pittsburgh Central Catholic 31-24 in overtime. So, tough way to get to the championship, but that's a good team. So,
well, that's how you get there, though. I mean, we figured there'd be a lot of good games, a lot of close games, because you got evenly matched teams coming in there. But like we've said many times before on the shows, any team can beat any team on a given day. You just got to have the luck with you. You got to take advantage of turnovers and what have you. So there's going to be some real good games come up this weekend. It'll be interesting to see how they turn out.
I agree. I think that should be interesting, some of those matchups. And usually there'll be, out of 6 games, you're going to get one that will be not so close.
Right.
But you'll have a couple of them that'll come right down to the wire. And these kids are out there working their tails off. They've been working their tails off since last June. Past June.
Yeah,
so,
lifting and what have you.
Right.
You're right.
Working, doing the 7-on-7 passing camps, all that kind of stuff. So, you're talking 6 months of football. And these kids this is what it's all about. It's coming right down to the championships. And every high school athlete dreams of making it to states in whatever sport they're in. So, yeah. Being a state champ. Speaking of being a state champ, our friends from north of the border come back as the repeat champions, and they did it in convincing style. And we're talking CSP, Clymer Sherman, Panama. They knocked off Mariah, the team that they beat last year. In a game last year, I believe CSP led 6-0 at halftime, one going away 27-6. This year, it was 27-0 at halftime, CSP, and they won 47-6 this year.
Congratulations to them. That's what we were just saying. Any team can beat any team on a given day with taking advantage of mistakes and turnovers. It almost sounds like that's what happened there. I mean, they come out ready to play, and it sounds like the better team did win. I mean, they beat them last year, and they turn around and beat them again this year. So, congratulations to them. I'd like to see the game just to see how well it was played. it sounds like it was pretty one-sided pretty through the whole game.
Yeah, that's a very, very good football team. We talked about it in last week's show, how 3 communities that were all rivals could come together and put together in 5 years. They have back-to-back championship teams. That's very impressive.
Yes, it is.
And the state of New York is no slouch when it comes to football. There's some very talented football teams throughout the state of New York. So, yeah, I agree with you. Hats off to Coach Harper and all of the kids and his staff as well. That's a very good coaching staff and a very good football team. And it has to be. You have to gel. You have to have everyone on the same sheet of music, and everybody has to work together. If you remember 2 weeks ago in the semifinal when they played Tioga, the team that they beat in the semifinal the year before.
Last year.
So you're talking right there, 3 teams, Tioga, Mariah, and, of course, CSP, Clymer, Sherman, Panama. 3 schools that have great football programs for them to make it back the next year and in the same sequence, the semifinals and the finals. So, to do that is a shot in the a feather in the cap, let's say, for all those programs.
Sure is.
Clymer, Sherman, Panama, the way they came back and won the game against Tioga, they're losing 27-13, I believe, at halftime, and came back and won that game 28-27. So they shut down a very talented running back and quarterback and team in Tioga.
Mm-hmm.
And that ultimately put them in the state finals against Mariah again. And, of course, they went out and played their game. The one thing I think that was surprising was the fact that Mariah knew coming in that Clymer had very talented receivers and a very good quarterback. And they elected to go man-on-man coverage. The kids are really, really good. This Cam Barmore, I'm sure, is going to be a all-state selection, first team for football. And when you got a kid that's that good, it's 6'6", I believe.
Wow,
that'd be a tough kid to cover, and he really gets up there in the air to catch a football. So he's a mismatch for pretty much every defensive back in the state.
Yes,
and you almost want to put 2 guys on him to slow him down. One guy's got to hit him and slow him down at the line of scrimmage, and you almost got to put 2 guys on him. But if they did that, they're freeing up one of the other talented receivers. So
right.
The game plan wasn't there for Mariah, and it was there for CSP.
Yep.
And that opened up the running attack for CSP by showing what they could do passing.
Right.
They passed to open up the run, and it worked to perfection. They had different kids scoring, and just they moved the ball around, spread it around, and shared that ball on offense so well that Mariah could not key on anybody.
And that's what it's all about, right there.
If you have kids that are that talented, working together, and a coaching staff seeing everything and working together like that, that's what it takes to be a state champion.
And it worked.
Bottom line. So hats off to Coach Harper and the CSP football team and coaching staff, and to all the communities, Clymer, Sherman, and Panama, for backing those kids all the way. And hopefully that winning tradition will continue. I know that they're going to be dealt a blow from graduation. The skilled players are pretty much all going to graduate this year. And last year it was the linemen. But look what the line did this year. I mean, they had kids up. They had sophomores and juniors on that line that did a tremendous job. So once you start getting to that level where you're a state caliber team, that continues for a long period of time because you're getting the best athletes from all those schools are going to participate. This year there were a couple of kids that participated that weren't necessarily football players for 4 years.
Sure.
They came out, but they're very good athletes, and they adapted and helped the program out.
I think they'll do fine, and I agree with you 100% that the other guys will step up. I mean, over the summer, they now see what it's like to be a state champion. If they did not play last year, or if they did, they want to continue it. So they'll step up, and things will start gelling in the practice this summer, and I think they'll be fine.
Well, that's football season. So now we're looking ahead as the winter sports seasons get clicking, and they're already scrimmaging. Lee, that we've had basketball scrimmages for both the girls and boys, and the wrestlers have worked out with other teams, and the swimmers are hard at it in the pool down at the Y, getting ready. It's just a fun time of year to see our next scheduled group of sports go at it. And girls and boys basketball, I think that we're looking for improvements. Our boys basketball team did fairly decent last year. The girls struggled a little. I think you'll see a better effort and a better record out of both of the girls and boys this year. We wish all of our kids the best of luck, of course. And I think that girls and boys swimming should do fairly well this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Your feeder program's doing a great job there. As well as the wrestling team. The wrestling team was very young last year and still quite competitive. But this year, I think that they're looking for great things from that wrestling team. You have a pretty solid lineup from the littlest guy to the biggest guy and everybody in between.
Right. Yeah, that's a big thing. A lot of these kids got experience last year on a kind of a down year. But they got the experience, and that experience goes a long ways the following year. So I think you're going to see a lot of improvements in all the sports, and they're going to hear other teams say, well, we got to play Corry. They're going to be tough. I really believe that's going to happen.
Right. I saw that there's an interesting matchup wrestling-wise. The kids are scheduled to wrestle Union City, which is the Route 6 rivalry.
Yep.
And it's been pretty fun and pretty competitive the last few years. Last year, Union City kind of clipped Corry on the chin. They took it to us pretty good. But they had some very talented seniors that are now at college.
Right.
So this year should be a little bit more competitive team-wise. I think you're going to see a closer team duel when those two schools meet. I believe that's the 17th of December at Union City. And, it should be a real good matchup. And looking at the schedule, Lee, we have girls basketball slated to start the 14th of December. They're going to be at Erie High. The boys are set to go the 11th of November with a home game with Northwestern. Swimming, and you mentioned this last week, I believe, both boys and girls swimmers will be at Fairview on the 9th.
You're right.
And then wrestling is the 11th also of December with a home match with Sagertown. So everything is right around the corner.
Yeah,
here we are
next week.
We're already in our first week of December, and next week things get going. We're excited to get them going, and looking for great things for our kids. We just wish all of our kids very safe, and eventful year this year for them. I hope that they have a great time. Win, lose, or draw, go out there and play hard and have fun. Do
right.
your very best.
I agree.
At whatever sport you're participating in, and bring some buddies out for your sport as well.
I know that's happened in swimming. They got some new kids coming in this year. I talked to my nephew on the basketball team, and he said he had some new, I believe they were sophomores that joined the team this year. So that's a great thing to get some more people involved, in case of injuries, heaven forbid, but to get them prepped for next year. I mean, it seems like, man, you're talking about next year already. Well, you have to. That's going to get them ready to go for when the seniors are gone.
Yeah, and that's it. It's very important that our seniors be good role models and set the pace and set the stage for the underclassmen, and then those juniors got to jump in and take over that role.
Yep.
And it's trickle effect.
Yes, it is.
It has to work that way in order to be successful.
Yep, and I think it will happen. It's happened in the future or in the past, and it will happen in the future. That it seems like in Corry sports that always happens. When the seniors are gone, the juniors step up and they take the role, and then it's just like it was never missed a beat. So I think it will happen, and we'll get some good future players.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about high school sports. We'll talk a little bit about a few other things as we lead up to the holidays, and we'll be back after a word from our wonderful sponsors. Welcome back to the Sports Lowdown. Brad Swanson and Lee Knapp here bringing you the Sports Lowdown on channel 98.9 FM. Lee, we touched a little bit on the final week of high school football for Pennsylvania. We talked about New York State football and, of course, that CSP Clymer Sherman Panama team coming back with a state title for the second year in a row. We've talked a little bit about the upcoming winter sports schedule and season. It's just amazing to me how fast time goes by, and I think we talked about this quite a few months ago even. When we were younger, we used to laugh when older people would tell us, the older you get, the faster time goes by. Yep. And we would look at them and think, yeah, right. Sure it does. And now, as we do get older, we're thinking, where did the time go?
Yeah.
So, it does go by fast.
We were talking before we got on the show here, Brad, that 39 more weeks and it'll be football season again. That'll be here before you know it.
39 more Fridays we're having open tonight. How about that?
Oh, wow.
And until then, we'll just keep bringing you the show. And
I just thought that was kind of unique.
That is very unique. I like it. There's going to be quite a few Fridays where the gyms will be packed with basketball fans for both girls and boys games. And,
right.
A lot of weekends where the swimmers will be participating. They have a few Saturday meets too, don't they, Lee?
Yeah, they got 2 invitationals in January. The boys are at Iroquois Invitationals on a Saturday, and the girls will be at Northeast for an invitational on a Saturday.
Okay. Now, I'm thinking the wrestlers are at Penn Cambria for maybe the Christmas time tournament, and I'm not sure, but I think that they wrestle in the Fredonia tournament. I want to say they wrestle in a New York State tournament. They have in the past. I'm not sure if they're going to do that again. I might be mistaken on that one, but I know that they're at the Penn Cambria tournament. Okay. And of course, basketball. They get the opportunity to play a game up in Erie at the arena. Mm-hmm. They're part of, I believe, a triple header that night, the boys.
Wow.
So that's got to be a thrill to go in and play in an arena setting when you're a high school kid.
That place is huge. So
right.
It's going to be,
sure is.
That'd be like football players going to a pro stadium.
Right. Yeah, and, in New York State, they get to do that. The CSP team played a game at New Era Stadium this year. So that would be a lot of fun to be able to do that. I watch our little guys. We had the opportunity a few years back to go play at Edinburgh at the university. And I tell you what, you ought to want to see little kids awestruck. Their eyes were bigger than a softball, I think. They just thought that was wonderful, and I think it was great. We were very thankful and made sure that we let the Edinburgh coaches know that we were very thankful for them to allow us to play
experience.
there. But Yeah, it's fun to see kids be able to participate at a huge venue like that.
Right.
And, I hope that all the kids that are involved in sports get that opportunity in one form or another. I know that the swimming championships, they're at a really nice place when they go out.
Over to Spire Center.
And that's amazing. To me, it's just amazing that they go out to Ohio, right?
Yeah, they have to go out to Ohio. Number one, it was the seating. They used to have it at Penn State Barron. And there's so many people that go and watch the swim meet that they had people sitting in aisleways and everything else, and the fire marshal came in and says, that's it, no more. So they had to find a little bit better place. Inspire Center, I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but it's an 8-lane pool, and it's got an 8-lane warm-down pool, and it's got a diving well. I mean, this place is just phenomenal. It's the practice center for the East Coast Olympic swimmers.
Wow.
So it's just an amazing facility. Seating on both sides of the pool, and there's so much deck space for the swimmers that you're not walking over each other. It's an amazing facility. And there's no place, unfortunately, in Pennsylvania that can even come close to it. They swam at Bucknell, they swam at State College, and those pools just aren't adequate for a college facility even. So they had to go out of town, and all the coaches love it, and the swimmers love it because it's just an amazing facility.
That's wonderful that they're able to do that. I think It's great. Ohio probably loves it because they're bringing a lot of revenue in by having it being held there. So it's a win-win for the PA people and the Ohio folks.
There was some people who really complained to District 10 about having a PA district swim meet out of the state of PA. And I understand that to a point, but you also got to have the right facility to have a big meet like this, because there's hundreds of kids there, and there's thousands of spectators. So you got to have the right facility, or it's just not going to work.
Right, and you see different things too nowadays where, Cathedral Prep plays a couple of Ohio teams in their schedule, and they play them because they know they're getting a powerhouse.
Right.
And Ohio is saying, we want the best from Pennsylvania. We want to play that Cathedral Prep team because we know we're going to get pushed and it's going to be a great game.
Right.
And, that's how you get better, is to compete with the best.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
That's been going on for a while. Of course, they also play some powerhouses out of New York, which I think is really good that they do that. Prep should be playing teams like that because they're a hand-picked team.
Yeah.
They openly recruit, and
we won't get into that
right.
Right now.
But there's other schools that should be playing a little bit like that as well. And now you see in high school football, the Conneaut, Ohio team has joined in with our team.
With our teams here. Right.
Our teams in District 10. And once the playoffs start, of course, they have to go back and play in Ohio.
Right.
And I like it. I think it's a good idea. And I just hope that maybe we can get a little bit more of that and get teams a little more evenly matched as far as when it comes to the regular season games.
Right.
And the playoffs. I mean, some of these teams are just very mismatched.
Yeah, you got to have it. You got to have a meet once in a while with some good competition, or it's like you got to go against a team can probably beat you, but it's going to make you play better.
Mm-hmm.
And I know our swimmers. We've got a team like Fairview, who's always been a powerhouse, but there's nobody around this area that can beat them in swimming. So it'd be good for them to swim somebody like that. It doesn't happen because they got so many meets with the county teams. So I think that would be a great idea, though, to have them swim somebody from Ohio and say, I guess there is a team that's better than us.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a great. I think it's great competition. It's great to have a team that's used to winning all the time get humbled every now and then.
Exactly.
You know, it's showing what it's like to play somebody of their caliber or stronger.
Yeah, it's only going to make them better.
Exactly. So, you know, some people are like, well, you know, we like to see them win all the time. Well, yeah, so do they. But, you know, life is not always a win.
Yeah.
You know,
you're right.
We have to be able to lose and lose with dignity and understand why we lost and what we need to do to improve. And that's how you do it, by playing better competition.
Right. I agree.
No matter what sport it is.
I agree.
Well, Lee, I tell you what, it's going to wind our show down again for this week. Once again, we want to remind all of our outdoorsmen to be very careful out there in the woods. You know, exercise with caution. Make sure everything is functioning good, your rifle, all that kind of stuff. Make sure that you're getting hydrated. Take a bottle of water, a couple bottles of water with you. Not, you know, if you're drinking coffee, that kind of dehydrates you a little bit.
Yeah.
And pop's not going to hydrate you. So make sure you take some water with you. And also, you know, make sure you got a little food out there. If you're going to be out there all day, you got to, you know, get a little, little fuel in the system.
That's right.
So we just remind you to do all that and be very careful. You never know when somebody might be coming through the woods. Not a deer, but another hunter or whatever. So be very cautious. Make sure that you're covered with enough orange that people can see you. And, you know, just be careful, be smart out there.
Enjoy it, though.
Yeah, have a lot of fun. And, you know, hopefully we can get the younger generation to continue and keep something that we really enjoy
Keep
doing.
it going.
Keep it going, exactly. Also, Lee, you and I talked about this prior to the start of the show. It's also very important that people be very careful traveling, not just with it being deer season, but with it being the holiday
season. Yep, a lot of extra cars on the road.
Yeah, give yourself more time. If you're planning on going to Erie and you're giving yourself the usual 45 minutes, give yourself an hour just to be safe, or a little more even.
I agree.
And just take your time and keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when a deer is going to run across the road, or if people are looking at Christmas lights and slowing down in front of you, whatever the case may be. Let's have a safe and happy month of December leading up to our holidays, and let's finish the year off right. So be careful, be safe,
and enjoy it.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we have high school sports coming up. The start of the winter sports season starts next week, as Lee said. Looking forward to it. We hope that you are too. Make sure that you keep your radio dial tuned right here to channel 98.9 FM. And for Lee Knapp, this is Brad Swanson saying have a safe, enjoyable evening. Best of luck to all of you in the sports world, indoors and outdoors. And
go Beavers.